Hello there, party people. Sorry, I got that from my high school percussion director. Today, I'll be discussing the transit in Miami-Dade County, Florida, the most populous county in Florida and home to one of only a small handful of metro systems in the United States. Before we begin, we must understand the geography of the county, as in order to understand a transit system, I feel that you must understand the geography of the area that transit system serves. Miami-Dade County is located at the very southeastern tip of the Florida Peninsula. It is bordered to the north by Broward County, home to Fort Lauderdale, to the northwest by Collier County, and to the southwest by Monroe County, which includes the Florida Keys, the southernmost portion of the continental United States. The west of the county is mostly undeveloped, consisting of the Big Cypress National Preserve and the Everglades National Park. The bulk of the development in the county, therefore, lies in the east. It is centered on the city of Miami, the largest city in Florida and among the largest in the country. It is located in the north-central part of the county. Broadly speaking, as you move north and south from the city of Miami, the density of development decreases from highly urbanized to fully rural. The far east of the county contains Biscayne Bay, a large portion of which is part of the Biscayne National Park. The bay stretches all the way from the city of Miami to the far south of the county. On the other side of Biscayne Bay from the city of Miami is another pocket of high-density development on barrier islands centered on the city of Miami Beach, which is connected to the mainland via multiple bridges and causeways. The county's airport, Miami International Airport, MIA, is located a few miles to the northwest of the city of Miami. A personal anecdote to conclude this segment. I find the very linear pattern of development of the county and the neighboring counties to the north to be very interesting, as it makes for fairly easy transit construction, as you really only need one or two main corridors to serve most of the region, which Miami has, as we'll get into momentarily. By far the largest transit operator in Miami-Dade County is the aptly named Miami-Dade Transit, MDT, which is operated not as an independent agency or special purpose district as many large transit systems in the U.S. are operated, but as a part of the county's Department of Transportation and Public Works. It also holds the distinction of being the largest transit agency in Florida. The agency operates 6 transit modes: paratransit, metro, local bus, bus rapid transit or BRT, people mover, and microtransit. We'll start with the highest capacity system, the metro, and move our way down from there. Miami's Metrorail is a fully above-ground metro system serving the north part of the county. In fact, it is the only metro system in the U.S. that doesn't go underground. This is due to the very high water table in South Florida, making it very hard and expensive to dig tunnels. The system opened in 1984 and today consists of 2 lines, really one line with a branch, along 24.4 miles of track with 23 stations. Now for some more nerdy facts. The system's track gauge is 1,435 millimeters, or 4 foot 8.5 inch standard gauge, which means there is a space of 1,435 millimeters between the rails. The system is electrified, with trains drawing power from a 750 volt DC top contact covered third rail, although the cover is missing in many places, which poses a safety risk for people walking along the tracks and exposes the third rail to the elements. Alright, I think I've gotten nerdiness out of my system for now. The system's lines have color designations, which are the green line and the orange line. Both lines start in the center of the county at the Dadeland South Station, where transfers are available to the Metro Express BRT line. The lines run northeast towards downtown Miami, making stops at key locations on the way. The hub of the MDT system is the Government Center Station in downtown, where transfers from Metrorail to all 3 people mover lines and multiple bus routes, as well as the Miami Trolley, more on that later, can be made. One stop north at historic Overtown/Lyric Theater, transfers can be made to Brightline and Tri-Rail at Miami Central Station. The line then runs west, then north, then west again. The lines split west of Arlington Heights Station with a flying junction, meaning trains won't block each other's paths. The orange line then runs directly to the Miami Intermodal Center, signed as Miami Airport, where transfers can be made to numerous bus lines, Tri-Rail, and the MIA Mover to Miami Airport. Past Arlington Heights, the Green Line continues east to Palmetto Station via a transfer station with Tri-Rail, which is also a short walk from Miami's Amtrak station. It should be noted that there are transfers to at least one MDT bus line at all Metrorail stations. All stations on Metrorail are fully ADA accessible. The system uses a fleet of 136 cars built by Hitachi, arranged into 2-car married pairs that entered service in December 2017, replacing the original fleet of cars built by Bud, rest in peace the Bud Company, which are typically formed into 4-car trains. The system's yard and maintenance facility is located between Palmetto and Okeechobee stations and feeds into the system in the southbound direction only, meaning trains cannot directly access Palmetto from the yard. Interestingly, the yard consists of a full loop of track, allowing trains to turn around without operators having to change ends. The yard also has a track connection to the Florida East Coast Railway. The last thing I want to mention about Metrorail is the Underline, a linear park and bike path running parallel to and under the Metrorail viaduct, starting in Brickell and running south to the end of the line at Dadeland South. There, the trail connects into the South Dade Trail, which parallels the Metro Express all the way to the end of Florida City. The next mode is the Metromover People Mover system, which serves downtown Miami and surrounding neighborhoods. It is the only urban people mover system in the US that has been a success. It has been a resounding success at that. Success in this case is how many people use the system in a year, with only the Metromover having high ridership. The Metromover is fully elevated with 3 lines and 21 stations across 4.4 miles of guideway. I say guideway and not track, as the system uses rubber-tired vehicles like many airport people movers, including ones located in Miami. The system uses the Bombardier Innovia APM system, which sees trains running on rubber tires on a concrete guideway with a guide rail located in the middle that prevents trains from running off the viaduct. The system consists of 2 parallel guideways forming a loop, with the outer guideway also having 2 branches to serve additional locations. Before I go over the lines, I want to say that I love the Metromover. That's it. That's the statement. I don't really have a specific reason for liking it so much, I simply think it's really cool. Alright, moving on. The first line is the inner loop, which utilizes the inner guideway as the name would suggest. Starting at Government Center, the line runs clockwise. From Government Center, it runs north, turning to run east along Northwest 5th Street. At the Wilkie D. Ferguson Jr. stop, transfers can be made to Tri-Rail and Brightline at Miami Central. The line curves south just past Northeast 2nd Avenue, then continues east along Northeast 1st Street. It then runs along Biscayne Boulevard, followed by Southeast 3rd Street. It completes the loop by running along Southeast 1st Avenue and 1st Street. This loop opened in 1986. The other 2 lines, the Brickell and Omni loops, share the outer guideway and run counterclockwise. The outer guideway runs right next to the inner guideway for most of the route, the exception being the outer guideway runs parallel to a spur of I-95 rather than along 1st Street. On the south side of the loop, the Brickell Loop splits off and crosses the Miami River and runs along Brickell Plaza, Southwest 11th Street, Southwest 1st Avenue, and Southeast 14th Street to the Financial District Station. The previous station, Brickell, is a transfer point to Metrorail. Financial District is a stub-ended terminal, meaning that even though the line is called a loop, it technically isn't, with trains having to reverse directions at Financial District. The Omni Loop splits from the main loop on the north side, running north to Northeast 15th Street, which it runs along to School Board, which is also a stub-end terminal, once again necessitating trains to reverse out of the station. This loop opened in 1994. The system uses a fleet of 29 Innovia APM 100 vehicles built by Bombardier, which are formed into 2-car trains for the inner loop and 1-car trains for the outer loop. Like Metrorail, all stations on the Metromover are fully accessible. This system is notable for having some very steep grades, so steep in fact that it looks like you're riding a roller coaster. This is made possible by the trains using rubber tires on a concrete guideway, as opposed to the standard steel wheels on steel rails. This system provides more traction and friction, allowing trains to navigate steeper grades. The system also isn't particularly fast, which is due to numerous sharp turns and a very short station spacing. Last, the system's vehicle maintenance facility is located in a building at the corner of Southwest 1st Street and Southwest 1st Avenue. The maintenance and storage tracks are elevated just like the rest of the system. The next mode, operated by MDT, is the Metro Express Bus Rapid Transit Service. It utilizes the South Dade Transitway, which runs from the Dadeland South Metrorail station 20 miles to Florida City in the far south of the county. It acts as a continuation of the linear corridor formed by Metrorail. In my opinion, it should have been built as an extension of Metrorail rather than a BRT line, but we can't always get what we want. The Transitway is a grade-separated road just for buses that parallels US 1, crossing cross streets at grade. These crossings feature gates similar to a railroad crossing. During rush hours, there is transit signal priority in the peak direction, where the gates automatically go down as the bus approaches, meaning buses don't see red lights, allowing them to travel faster. This should be active at all times the Transitway is in use, but car brains and NIMBYs get a car brain and NIMBY. 2 services operate along the Transitway under the Metro Express brand, both of which run the entire length of the corridor. The 601 Metro Express serves 21 more substantial stations with large stop spacing, while the 602 Transitway Local makes more frequent stops along the route at 32 less substantial bus stops. The Metro Express uses a fleet of 60 New Flyer XE60 Charge NGs, which feature 4 sets of doors, 2 on each side of the bus, facilitating boarding from the island platforms located at Transitway stations. The bus fleet will be maintained at the South Dade Transit Operations Center, which as of the making of this video is still under construction. It is located directly north of the Homestead Air Reserve Base in the east of Homestead. The Metrobus is the backbone of the MDT system with 81 routes, excluding the 601 and 602 and counting branches separately. A handful of routes operate 24/7, with most others operating for most of the day, and a few only operating for limited hours each day. Routes numbered 1 through 199, excluding 95 and 132, and 344 are the standard local routes, with a few having limited stop and express sections. Routes 95, 95A, and 95B are commuter-oriented express routes running along I-95. Routes 203, 204, 211, 272, 279, 287, and 288 are branded MAX and operate as express and limited stop routes. Routes 132, 207, 208, 500, and 510 act as local circulators. Route 301 is probably the most interesting MDT bus route, as it runs from the south end of the South-Dade Transitway all the way to Key Largo, roughly in the middle of the Florida Keys. Here, passengers can transfer to a bus operated by Key West Transit Agency, making it possible to get from Key West to Miami without a car and without using Greyhound. The 302 and 338 are two other express routes. The 400 and 401 are two nighttime-only bus routes, substituting for daytime-only routes. Last, the 836 and 837 are rush-hour-only routes running along the Dolphin Expressway. As required by law, the entire Metrobus network is fully ADA accessible. Metrobus operates a massive fleet of buses with a total of 1,086 buses in the fleet, 1,146 if you count the Metro Express buses. There are 19 NMB 40 LFWs in reserve service, along with 15 in regular service. Also from NMB are 43 60 BRTs. From Gillig, MBT has 3 BRT 29-foot, 35 BRT 40-foot, and 119 BRT plus 40-foot. From New Flyer, MBT has 21 XTE60s, 639 XN40s, and 40 XT60 Charge NGs. Last, MBT operates 171 Proterra ZX5s. Metrobus has 4 depots: Metrobus Central Maintenance Facility, located near the airport, the Metrobus Northeast Facility, located directly west of Miami Gardens, the Metrobus Coral Way Facility in Coral Terrace, and the aforementioned South-Dade Transit Operations Center. In addition to the normal bus fleet, Metrobus also has a fleet of truck minibuses, which I thought were only used for the paratransit service, but which are actually operate fixed route services, which is weird for a large transit agency such as MDT. The last two modes operated by MDT are forms of demand-responsive transit, or microtransit, depending on which term you prefer. This type of transit is similar to rideshare, with the difference being that the vehicles are typically larger and may make multiple stops along the way to your destination to pick up and drop off other passengers. The first microtransit service offered by MDT is the Special Transportation Service, or STS. This falls into the subtype of microtransit called paratransit, which is microtransit specifically designed for people with disabilities that prevent them from riding normal transit. In order to use the service, patrons must fill out an application to prove that they in fact need the service. The service operates 24/7 and is available in most of the county. The 24/7 service is surprising, as most paratransit doesn't operate at nearly that expansive of hours. The service uses a fleet of customized vans and presumably the aforementioned truck minibuses. The other microtransit service offered by MDT is the Metroconnect, which operates in 12 specific zones. Riders can book trips between any 2 points within a zone, but not anywhere outside of the zone. Within each zone are major transit hubs such as rail stations, which act as anchors for the zone. The service is ADA accessible and uses a fleet of minivans. The second to last thing we'll talk about with MDT is everyone's favorite part of riding transit, the fares. MDT has a unified fare payment system and fare structure, mostly. The system uses a flat fare as opposed to distance-based fares, meaning you pay the same fare regardless of how far you travel, unlike on Tri-Rail. Stay tuned for that. The standard fare for Metrobus, Metrorail, and Metro Express is $2.25, or $1.10 if you have a reduced fare card. Transfers between these three modes are free, as is expected, although not if you are paying cash. Due to being longer distance routes, the 301 and 302 have an increased fare of $2.65 or $1.30 for reduced fare passengers. Transferring to these routes, therefore, incurs a surcharge. Transferring from Tri-Rail to Metrobus and Metrorail also gives you a discounted fare, as does transferring from the neighbor Broward County Transit. The fare for Metroconnect is $3.75 or $1.50 if one of the ends of the trip is a designated transit hub. The STS has a fare of $3.50, which I think is ridiculous. The STS is designed for people who cannot use regular transit due to a disability. Therefore, it should cost the same as a regular transit fare, not more. I honestly feel this is disability discrimination, but I digress. MDT makes it very easy for you to part with your money by offering numerous ways to pay your fare. The easiest way is by using a bank card or mobile wallet. If that isn't your cup of tea, you could download MTT's Fare app to purchase fares. If that still doesn't pique your interest, you can purchase an Easy Card, which is like a credit card but only usable for MTT fares. Similar to the Easy Card is the Easy Ticket, which is a one-time use version of the Easy Card. Even that isn't good enough, you can use one of several third-party apps to pay your fare. Last, bus patrons can use cash to pay their fare. MDT offers daily, weekly, and monthly passes for passengers who ride more frequently. For those paying with contactless options, fare capping is in effect. This means that once passengers pay the equivalent of a day pass, $5.65 or $2.80 of the discounted fare, the system will stop charging them, assuming they use the same card every time. The last thing with MDT is wayfinding. Metrorail, Metro Express, and Metromover stations all have digital next vehicle strings, with those on Metrorail by far being the best. Bus stop signage is pretty good, with consistent branding and information about the routes that stop at the bus stop. Wayfinding at stations is also pretty good, helping new passengers navigate the system easier. Moving on, let's talk about Tri-Rail, the commuter/regional rail for Miami-Dade County and its two northern neighbors, Broward County and Palm Beach County. The system has one line and a stubby little branch with 19 stations across a route length of 80 miles. 3 services are operated by the agency. The first is the main service, running the full length of the line from the Miami Intermodal Center to Magnolia Park via Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale/Hollywood Airport, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and numerous other small cities along the way. The second service is a shuttle from Brightline's Miami Central to the Metrorail Tri-Rail transfer station. Here, there is a timed transfer to mainline services. The last service is a rush-hour-only express service, running one morning inbound trip and one evening outbound trip on weekdays only. It runs from Miami Central to West Palm Beach, with the only intermediate stops being Metrorail Tri-Rail Transfer, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Airport, and Boca Raton. Unlike its northern neighbor Sunrail, Tri-Rail operates 7 days a week, with reduced service on weekdays, holidays, and weekday middays. All stations are accessible, although lack level boarding, meaning passengers with disabilities must use a ramp moved into place by a conductor. This is made easier by slightly raised sections of platform, meaning that the ramp functions more as a gap filler than a ramp. The lack of level boarding is to allow clearance for freight trains, which still use the line when passenger trains are not running. Tri-Rail is non-electrified, like most commuter rail systems in North America, and has an eclectic fleet of diesel locomotives hauling bi-level passenger cars. The fleet consists of 3 F40 PHM-3Cs built by EMD and refurbished by Morrison Knudsen, 2 EMD F40 PHR-3Cs, 3 EMD GP49H-3s, and 12 Brookville BL36 PHs. For passenger cars, Tri-Rail has a fleet of 24 Bombardier bi-level coaches, 13 of which are bike cars, 2 of which are standard cars, and 9 of which are cab cars. A cab car is a passenger car that additionally has a cab at one end, meaning trains only have to have a locomotive on one end of the consist or don't have to have the locomotive run around the train between runs. The former cuts operating costs, and the latter reduces the turnaround time for trains at terminals. In addition to the bi-levels, Tri-Rail has 24 Hyundai Ronda coaches, 14 standard and 10 cab. Tri-Rail also has 7 Siemens Charger locomotives on order to expand their fleet and replace their GP49 PH-3s. The trains used to have a complex livery featuring blue skies and palm trees, which is slowly being phased out in favor of a simpler design. I am a huge fan of the old livery, so it is sad to see them go, but I understand the desire to have a more simplified livery. The line's yard is located between the Metrorail Tri-Rail transfer station and CSX's Hialeah yard, adjacent to Amtrak's Miami station. As for fares, Tri-Rail uses a zone-based fare system, with riders paying more the more zones they travel through. This starts at $2.50 for one zone and goes up to $8.75 for all 6 zones. Reduced fares are available for select groups, just like on MDT. A monthly pass is also available for $110, which covers all zones. If transferring from one of the local transit agencies in the counties served, a discount equal to that transit agency's fare is applied to your ticket. You can pay your fare with Tri-Rail's mobile app, the SoFlo third-party app, Tri-Rail's version of the Easy Card, or by buying a paper ticket at station. The next system is the Metromover, operated by Miami International Airport to transport people between the Miami Intermodal Center and the airport proper. The line is 1.27 miles long with 2 stations. The system has a fleet of at least 8 Mitsubishi Crystal Mover vehicles arranged into married pairs. The Crystal Mover system is similar to Bombardier Innovia APM in that it uses rubber tires on a concrete guideway, although the method of guidance on the Crystal Mover system is different than that on the Innovia APM. In typical service, 3 trains operate the line, 2 4-car trains, and 1 2-car train. The maintenance facility is the airport station. By that, I mean the maintenance pits and equipment are located next to the platforms at the station, which I find to be weird. Like other airport people movers, the line operates fare-free. Broward County Transit, the transit agency for Miami-Dade County's northern neighbors, operates a handful of routes into Miami-Dade County. First, BCT operates express routes for commuters utilizing motor coaches rather than standard transit buses. These are split into 3 categories: 95 Express, routes 105, 108, and 109, 595 Express, routes 110 and 114, and 75 Express, route 115. These routes operate during peak times only. BCT also has so-called breeze routes, which are limited stop routes that also run during peak times only. These routes are the US 1 Breeze, Route 101, and the 441 Breeze, Route 441. Last, BCT routes 2, 18, and 28 provide service into the northern part of Miami-Dade County. The express routes are operated with a fleet of Motor Coach Industries D4500 CT coaches. Next up, we have ferries, the underappreciated heroes of public transit. There are 2 ferry services in Miami-Dade County. The first is the Miami Beach Water Taxi, operated by the City of Miami Beach. It runs from Maurice Gibb Memorial Park in the south part of the city to the Venetian Marina and Yacht Club at Miami. At the Miami Beach end, transfers are available to Miami Beach's trolley service, and at the Miami end, transfers are available to the Metromover. I should also add that the service is fare-free. It's debatable whether the other ferry service in Miami-Dade County truly counts as public transit, as it is not open to the general public. This is a ferry service linking the main part of the county with Fisher Island, a very exclusive island located in Biscayne Bay. Passengers must have prearranged a reason to visit the island in order to use the ferry, which operates 24/7. Next up, let's discuss the numerous municipalities within the county that operate their own local circulator service to complement Miami-Dade Transit. First is the city of Aventura, which operates 3 fare-free routes under the Aventura Express brand. This service does not run on Sundays, and notably doesn't run between 12:45 p.m. and 1:45 p.m., which I would think would be prime time for usage of these routes, but I guess not. Transfers are available from this service to both Metrobus and BCT. The city of Coral Gables operates one route using replica trolleys, which are buses designed to look like old streetcars. I find these to be a little tacky and would much rather see normal buses used on these routes. This service also does not operate on Sundays. Transfers are available from this service to Metrorail, Metrobus, and City of Miami Trolley. The city of Doral also operates a trolley service with 4 routes. This service operates 7 days a week and has connections to Metrorail and Metrobus. The city of Hialeah has the Hialeah Transit Service, operating 2 routes in the city. This service does not operate on Sundays and stops running fairly early in the day, at 7:30 p.m. on weekdays and 3:30 p.m. on Saturdays. Hialeah Transit is fare-free. Connections are available to Tri-Rail, Metrorail, and Metrobus. Another trolley service that has limited hours is the Homestead Trolley. At least this one runs on Sundays. There are 3 lines and the service is fare-free. The City of Miami operates a whopping 13 trolley routes across its city limits, providing lots of local service to complement MDT. Speaking of, transfers are available to Metrorail, Metrobus, and Metromover. This is another fare-free system. Confusingly, some routes operate 7 days a week, while others do not operate on Sundays. This is the only local circulator service I managed to grab footage of, and that was by accident. Miami Shores Village supposedly operates a shuttle service, although the only information about it is a schedule, so there is a chance it may not run anymore. If it operates, it does so weekdays only with just 4 trips per day, one of which doesn't even run the full route. Moving back to Miami Beach, it turns out that they also operate a trolley system in addition to their water taxi. Like many of the other systems, it operates fare-free with 4 routes. North Miami operates the NoMi Express trolley service, which once again has limited hours, stopping at 7 p.m. and not running on weekends. This is another 4-route system and is also fare-free. The city of North Miami Beach, lots of confusing city names here, operates the NMB Line shuttle service with 3 lines. It's the same story again, with service being free and not operating on Sundays. The awesomely named city of Opa-locka has the Opa-locka Express Circulator. This service has 1 route and operates a limited number of trips on all days except Sunday. Transfers are available to Tri-Rail at Opa-locka Station, where there is a timed transfer in both directions. Next up, the village of Palmetto Bay operates the IBus service, which is a weekday peak direction only shuttle between a park and ride located at a church of all places and the Dadeland South Metrorail station. The city of Sunny Isles Beach has the boringly named City Bus, which operates 3 routes with very limited hours. One part of the website says that it operates 7 days a week, while another says that 2 routes don't operate on Sundays, while the third only operates on weekdays. Last is the city of Sweetwater, which operates the Sweetwater Trolley. This is another free service that once again has very limited hours and a very low frequency, although it does operate on Sundays. The last local/regional transit thing in Miami-Dade County is Freebee, which straddles the line between microtransit and rideshare, operating small vehicles and many, many, many designated service zones throughout South Florida. The second to last thing to discuss are transit hubs. Transit hubs in the county include the Government Center Station, the Miami Intermodal Center, Aventura Mall, Dolphin Mall, Dadeland South Station, and the Southwest 344th Street Station. The last thing to discuss are intercity services, starting with the boring options, buses. Flixbus, Megabus, and Greyhound, operate out of the Miami Intermodal Center. As for rail, Miami is the southern terminus of Amtrak's Silver Meteor and Floridian, a temporary combination of the Capital Limited and Silver Star, which run to New York Penn Station and Chicago Union Station, respectively. Brightline, a higher-speed rail service, also terminates in Miami, with service running to Orlando Airport. Amtrak trains stop at a station near the Metrorail Tri-Rail transfer station, and Brightline stops at Miami Central and downtown. There you have it, all the public transit in Miami-Dade County accounted for. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you want to support the channel further, consider joining my Patreon or YouTube memberships for early access to videos, bonus footage, and more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.